Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Fire potential impacts for the next few days are shown here. We continue to see wind and lightning as the main threat over the next few days. For today, the breezy winds will pick up along the Snake River Plain with gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour and RH is 12 to 17%. Further south over southern Nevada and southwest Utah, the gusts will be a little bit higher, up to 35 miles an hour with slightly lower relative humidities. And then we'll see another round of isolated mixed wet dry thunderstorms to Utah and eastern Nevada. More of the same on Thursday with bit stronger gusts in eastern Idaho and western Wyoming, and then we also see some breezy winds pick up along the Sierra Front. Continued threat for showers or thunderstorms. We will see the chance for some of these storms to transition to wet over the Arizona Strip in southern Utah beginning on Thursday. And then on Friday, the winds continue in the Snake River Plain in eastern Idaho and along the Sierra Front. And then we see a continuation of the threat for storms over Utah and southern Nevada, with the chance for some of these higher elevation storms to produce a little bit more precipitation. Yesterday was a pretty active day for thunderstorms and some showers across many parts of the Great Basin, especially eastern Idaho and western Wyoming, and then this band over northeast Nevada, where we saw quite a few thunderstorms developing. We also saw thunderstorms over the higher elevations of of much of Utah anyway, with some of these storms definitely on the drier side. Initial attack for the last 24 hours showed 22 new fires for just under 3,000 acres. We had a couple of larger ones there in southwest Idaho, northeast Nevada, southern Idaho here as well. So kind of a smattering here and there, and wouldn't be surprised to pick up more fires from that lightning yesterday. Precip trends for the past 14 days shown here, still showing this really dry pattern for the last couple of weeks over Utah and Nevada. An above normal precipitation signal over Idaho with some recent precipitation up there. ERCs are on the upward swing and have become pretty high across Utah and Nevada, with many stations coming in at the 90th and 97th percentile. We even have some higher stations up in eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. Further north over the central Idaho mountains, the values are a little bit closer to normal for the time of year. Closer look at a few of these areas here where we had some recent fire activity. West Elko, we can see those values are right up around the 90th percentile, and those are expected to stay elevated through the next week. And here on the Fish Lake area, those values are right at just above the 90th percentile as well, which is pretty close to the historical records. We do expect those values to decrease, however, in the next 5 days or so with some moisture moving in. Smoke impacts are shown here for today and tomorrow. We do have quite a few fires on the landscape producing smoke, and then we have some smoke moving in from our neighbors as well. This morning's satellite imagery shows that trough over the northern Rockies, bringing the gustier winds to Idaho and other parts of the Great Basin today, and then some moisture continuing to be in place over Utah today as well. So for today, we have high risk over Utah for some winds over the Uinta Basin and far southwest Utah and the Arizona Strip. And then a few areas are expected to see those drier type thunderstorms again here over the higher elevations of east central and eastern Utah. So we have high risk triggers there. A closer look at the winds here shows that we have some elevated winds over southern Nevada and into southwest Utah. Minimum relative humidities are pretty low, especially over Nevada in the single digits to low teens, a little bit higher over Idaho, and again a little bit higher over the higher elevations of Utah, but generally a pretty dry air mass. Isolated storms are shown here on the left, where we're expecting to see some of those storms pop up this afternoon. Again, it's going to be mainly focused over Utah with less coverage than we saw yesterday. Maximum temperatures are still going to be pretty warm over Nevada with highs in the upper 90s, and a little bit cooler in Utah, highs in the low 90s, and even a little bit cooler there in Idaho. On Thursday, we'll see the winds pick up over Idaho, so we have high risk issued for much of eastern and central Idaho and into western Wyoming, and we'll see I don't want to call it a surge of moisture, but a slight increase in moisture into the southern Great Basin. So we do have some high risk for that increase in mixed wet dry thunderstorms over the southern Great Basin. Again, the winds on Thursday are the strongest over eastern Idaho and into western Wyoming, with gusts 35 miles an hour still possible. We'll also see winds pick up along the Sierra Front. And then for precipitation, there's a better chance for maybe some more organized type storms. We could see maybe a better chance of some wetter storms in the Arizona Strip or in southern Utah beginning on Thursday. On Friday, no high risk at the moment. We should see another round of some storms possible over Utah. And we do see some of those zones turning to yellow as relative humidities come up with a day, multi-days of some cloud cover and some intermittent precipitation here. So good news there. Friday, the winds are still going to be elevated over eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. And precipitation for Friday again shows like a better chance of some precipitation moving a little bit further north into central Nevada and up into central and northern Utah as well. 3-day precip totals are shown here. Still not looking for great amounts of precipitation, but the best chance for some of those measurable precipitation totals will be over the Arizona Strip and the higher elevations of southern Utah, as well as maybe the Uintas here. Idaho and northern Nevada are staying dry in the short term. For the weekend, general dry conditions persist on Saturday with no high risk. And on Sunday, we'll see a trough moving into the northern Rockies, Pacific Northwest, southern Canada here that will probably start to increase some wind speeds, and we may continue to see some isolated storm activity over Utah. No high risk triggers just yet, but we're watching how things shape up for the weekend. And then on Monday, that trough deepens a little bit, moving into Idaho. We'll see if this trough brings any precipitation to the central Idaho mountains, but will most likely certainly bring some wind to the southern Great Basin. And that trend continues into Tuesday with that trough still remaining over the northern Rockies and Pacific Northwest. Certainly, we will be taking a look at some triggers for some wind as we head into the first of next week. 7-day precip totals really just reflecting what we're expecting in the short term, mainly to Utah and the Arizona Strip. But if that trough early next week does develop as advertised, we may see some precipitation coming to the central Idaho mountains. The extended forecast for July 23rd through 29th keeps things warm across much of the Great Basin, cooler signal there in California, and we still see this below average precipitation bullseye right over the Great Basin, so not indicating too much monsoonal activity, or at least not of any extended duration. And that concludes today's briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.